Good afternoon. My name is Iman Zaytoun, Head of English at the New English School, Amman, Jordan. I have been a proud member of this educational institution for the past 10 years. Today, I will be moderating our session entitled Making a Difference, Improving the School Life for Both Students and Teachers. The New English School is extremely proud to have been chosen as the only school in Jordan to take part in this global showcase of 100 schools. What adds to our pride is that our contribution to this event comes in support of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal on Quality Education, SDG 4. We would like to welcome you all to the world's biggest education conference. We are thrilled to be able to share our journey of excellence and our learning experience with a huge online audience, focusing on well-being of school life for both students and teachers. Before we start, I need to clarify the housekeeping rules. Kindly mute your microphones, switch off your cameras, leave your questions on the Q&A chat box, and questions will be answered at the end of the session. As we are waiting for our audience to build up, allow us to share with you 100 photos of NES Journey of Excellence, accompanied with our brilliant, outstanding PNS Tier 13 student, Kareem Jazzazi. Thank you, Kareem. Beautiful. An exquisite amalgamation of brilliant minds, the true definition of leading by example. Allow me to introduce our distinguished panel for today. Our first panelist, Ms. Amal Qasim, a meticulous mathematician and our school principal with more than 30 years of experience in the field of education. Ms. Amal has introduced a mentoring campaign to our school entitled Making a Difference Campaign, with the aim of improving the school life experience for an individual or group of individuals. Ms. Amal, could you please tell us more about this campaign and its effect not only on students, but also on teachers?
Can you hear me?
Yes, Ms. Amal.
Thank you, Iman. On behalf of all my colleagues at the New English School, we are extremely honored and proud to be part of this global event. It is indeed an amazing learning experience for all educators in the world. So for this, I'd like to thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm also proud to say that I joined NES in 1992. I would like to show, just to share my screen, if you'll excuse me 1 minute. Okay, so let me give you an idea about this. NES was founded in 1986 as a private co-educational institution, and we are offering the British curriculum while remaining deeply rooted in the traditions and the culture of Jordan. And it is located in Amman, Jordan. And here is the view for this year, 2021. On the occasion of the World's Teachers' Day, a few days ago, actually, from all of us at NES, I would like to thank and congratulate all the teachers in the world, as they were and will always be our heroes, who did an amazing job, actually, during the COVID-19 pandemic. It has been an extreme situation for the center, for the entire world, with all the challenges. Our students have changed radically. Our students and all the students in the world, actually. Today's students are no longer the people. Our educational system was designed to teach. Our students are all native speakers of the digital language. And I can say, as Mark Prinsky have described them, as digital natives. We are the digital immigrants, educators who are still struggling to speak their language. It might take long, as we need to change our whole mind shift, but definitely we will succeed in the long run. Now, as a math teacher, to be honest, I was fascinated and inspired by the golden ratio and how it is demonstrated all over the universe. And now, as a principal, I was inspired by Simon Sinek, powered by Simon Sinek's powerful idea, the golden circle. And as you can see from his famous book, Start with Why and Find Your Why, the golden circle, I would like to share our learning experience in regards of how we have applied it in our school, especially with this program. So Make a Difference campaign is our mentoring campaign. We are already going back to the golden circle. We already started with the why, and based on the why, we can determine the how. So if I say, we want to why we want to make this, we want to develop our learners to be well balanced academically, physically, and emotionally. And also we want to create a happy, positive, healthy educational environment. It is what we make a difference. We want to make a difference in the life of each and every individual learner. Going back to the how did we do this? How did we implement this? We already introduced Make a Difference campaign, educating the culture of all the NES community, educating all of our NES community, parents, teachers, students, spreading the culture everywhere, introducing the mentorship program, and also enhancing the role of the well-being advisor. Again, the procedure or the process, we plan it, prepare a mentoring program, The terminology we're using, mentor, mentee, mentoring, the questionnaire, mentoring agreement, the barrier plan, and the action plan. Also, we just would like to say that how did we establish the guidelines for keeping a mentoring relationship? How did we build effective mentoring relationships? And how did we develop the trust and the setting the goals, sharing resources? How did we keep a record for all our discussions? And on this, I would like to share with you a few documents that we already used for this process, for this mentorship program. There are 3 types of the mentoring, whether academically or personal growth, the well-being, or from teacher to teacher career planning. So we split it into 3 parts, and these are the types of mentor relationships: student to student, faculty to faculty, or faculty to student. Again, here are some documents for student mentor program, SMP, and we've got the mentor, the buddy, the mentee, and the teacher. The teacher mentor program, also the mentee, the mentor, and all this, the documents. Also, we have the meeting record sheet, how to write the targets, the action target taken, and the due date. All these are documents for the sake of reflection and feedback. Going back to the golden circle, I started with the why and then determined the how, and how to achieve the what. What skills do our students need to be successful in their futures? What opportunities we should give our students and teachers to make a difference? And if I want to reflect on this, definitely we have both highs and lows, pros and cons everywhere. And in any program, definitely it's not fully successful. Yani we can say we've got obstacles, we've got challenges, and I believe that we can treat this as a learning experience. We will continue learning from our past programs and work really hard to improve our future. Yani we cannot go on or move forward unless we learn from this experience. What did we learn? What are the lessons that learned? What reflection and learn? Mentoring never ends, and this is, I think we all believe in this. Many people think that it's going to take a lot. It takes a lot of time, but actually it doesn't. It takes sometimes 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It will more than enough every few days. Mentoring another person will also, it will help the person himself to focus on his next steps. Mentors can make a difference in the life of their mentees by very simple things. You can't believe it from our success stories, how many success stories we have only with the very simple things only. Creating a mentoring program has been also affected or a good effects on the mentor or the mentee and the school itself. So at the end, going back to our golden circle, we say that our outcome we did achieve at NES. We are a happy, positive, healthy, confident, caring, responsible, and successful community. And I would also together, definitely we can all make a difference. We can all, if we work together, we can make a difference. I hope this experience that your school have found our sessions, I hope that you have learned something and to take back with you or to take to your educational journey. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Ms. Amal. Thank you. You are a true leader by all means. Thank you. Now we're going to move to our second panelist, Mr. David Cooksey, the head of upper secondary, a smart scientist and a specialist in international development and education. Hi, David. How are you?
Good afternoon, and thank you very much for that overpowering introduction.
David, in our school meetings, you always stress on the fact that school is about more than examinations. As a matter of fact, you always urge us to replace the term examinations with assessments. So could you please elaborate more on how could schools be utilized to shape our young learners' personalities as future national and international citizens?
Certainly, Iman, and welcome everybody else to a sunny Jordan. As we all know, but to be honest, we often lose sight of, education is about more than simply passing exams and gaining formal qualifications. I'm not saying that certificates and qualifications are not important, but that we need to remember that education is also about preparing the young people in our care to take a full and responsible role in the society in which they live and ultimately in the world itself. Our students are destined to become the civic, political and business leaders of tomorrow, and we owe them and society a duty of care in preparing them for those roles. Leadership does not come naturally to everyone, and the skills required of leaders, honesty, integrity, self-confidence, commitment, passion, communication, empathy, humility, and so on, these do not all come naturally. People need to be able to practice and develop these areas of their characters, understanding and personality. And this is where we, as educators, can help. By giving students responsibilities beyond their formal learning, we can help them to develop these and other skills. At the New English School, we have a student leadership team of 7 who, in more normal times, meet with senior school leaders on a weekly basis to discuss school issues. A forum for them to air their opinions and to develop them, and for the school to consider and implement their suggestions once they've been agreed on. Every position has a role description, and these are sent to all senior students. The process of application is the same as for any regular job. The applicant writes a formal letter of application, attends an interview with a panel of staff, and decisions are made based on the results of the interview. Students can apply for a single role, or, more usually in our school, for all roles, and the panel decides who is the best candidate for every role. Student leaders act as ambassadors for the school and support the organisation of events in the school, such as open evenings, parent-teacher conferences, and they meet and greet visitors to the school where appropriate. The school also hosts a very successful Model United Nations conference every year, which is organised by a committee which consists almost entirely of students, with staff support only when required or requested. I'm sure many of you out there are familiar with the concept of MUN, but for those of you who are not, I can highly recommend it. This is an opportunity to see those students who may not engage with their more formal education come into their own. Students who may be at risk academically and have a chance to shine in their own arena. And the competition for places on the organising committee, at our school at least, is always intense. Students develop their own theme for the conference based on their own interests and what they consider to be important. The theme of NESMUN 19 was political concession and its residuum, while in 2020 it was the power of you. The organising committee does everything required for such an event. They view and select the venue, organise the catering and the gala dinner. They recruit committee chairs, delegates, organise publicity, pre and post event, invite opening and closing speakers, take care of security at the venue. Any role you can think of is filled by a student, and they do an amazing job of it. That student you might have spent all year chasing around school and into classes. He turns out to be a fantastic security manager. The girl who never manages to hand in a piece of work on time, the most organised conference secretary you could ever wish for. When given the right arena, every student will succeed. Our students are encouraged to share ideas, and where possible, the school supports the development of those ideas. It's important to remember that we, as teachers, as human beings, we don't have a monopoly on good ideas, but we don't encourage our students to think outside the box. You can only think outside of a box if you let yourself be put in the box in the first place. Our students are not put in boxes, and they never will be. Many people, parents and students included, view such activities as optional, time wasting, interfering with students' exam preparation. But these days, with the academic pressures on students to succeed and they're rising to that pressure, the academic standard for entry to high demand courses such as medicine is such that just about every single applicant will have the very best grades from whatever system they've graduated from. It's from these additional activities and the skills and knowledge learned from participating in them that may well make the difference between acceptance and rejection for a particular student on a particular course. We don't have a choice here. We have a moral obligation to our students to give them the very best chance to succeed in their chosen career path. And so not to offer these extra opportunities outside the mainstream curriculum is failing our students. And none of us are prepared to do that, are we? Thank you.
Thank you, David. Thank you. That's quite inspiring. Okay, now we have a 5-minute interlude, and we have chosen it to be a musical one for you, with one of NES alumni, also known as Arabic soprano, Zainab Adhoum, who will be performing with one of our distinguished Year 8 learners, Hakim.
Thank you very much for the lovely introduction. Thank you to Hakim Hawi. It is a real pleasure to have been invited as an alumna of NES to take part in this wonderful online event and to sing next to current students of NES a huge talent, a beautiful voice, and a talent actually who we have adopted as well. And I say we because I started an initiative called Amman Opera Festival in 2017. And it's the only opera festival in the Arab world. We are very thankful to also launch an educational program in 2018, which Hakim took a part in as well. And he was discovered then. We loved him. The teachers there loved him. And we decided to give him a scholarship to enroll in an online program this year in 2020, and an e-learning program online that he's been doing wonderfully with a renowned teacher, an opera singer and teacher from outside of Jordan. He's been doing tremendously well, and he has a huge future ahead of him. So we're very proud of him. And it's also, there's one other thing I want to say. It's just wonderful to be here in this theater. On a stage I sang on several times, took part in talent shows on numerous occasions, and just to step on backstage ground and to see teachers I haven't seen in a long time, so always a pleasure to be back. So thank you for having me, and happy World Education Week to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Zaina. We're really happy to have you here on stage. Beautiful performance, splendid actually. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to move to our third panelist, and allow me to introduce Ms. Samar Marrish. With an experience ranging from early years to primary and to secondary, Ms. Marrish is currently holding three crucial positions at NES as the exam officer, career counselor, and CAS coordinator. Ms. Samar, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Happy to have you.
Yeah,
Ms. Samar,
yeah,
your name is always associated with the Community Service Initiative. Could you explain to us how does being part of CAS instill a sense of purpose into our young learners?
Yes, actually, to be honest with you, what I've seen over the years, over 2 or 3 years of working with these young people, is that working with the community does instill a sense of purpose, and it has them invested in something bigger than themselves. And I've put a few pictures together of my students. If that's okay, I'll share the screen now. And then if that, I just go through it. So I'm going to build on what Mr. David was saying about the student involvement. I'll just check if you can see my screen. Can you see my screen, Ms. Iman?
Yeah, but it's not showing
okay.
anything yet. Yes. Yes.
You can see it now. Okay, thank you. So it's student involvement in leadership positions. I'm just building on that. So they can get involved in Model United Nations, in debate clubs, sports activities, CAS, which I will be talking about, and public PR. If they have an idea of their own and they wanted to initiate it, then they're also welcome to do that. That's one of the unique possibilities that you get at NES. So we do welcome ideas. If there's something that we don't have, we're welcome a student to bring it up and hopefully go with that. So just CAS was actually initiated by one of our students, one of our former students who's graduated now, and he wanted to give back to the community. He had a lot of time on his hands, and you would find that he was not your obvious choice. Because he was the shy type, and then he found himself in this area, and it grew and it carried on for years afterwards. And you can see students getting involved here with other students of a less privileged environment, and they do give back to the community, and it builds patience, and it builds an understanding of a different environment. The reason I think well-being comes from having a safe environment, a sense of belonging and a purpose. So when they get up in the morning and they come to school, and it's not just their academics, they do have something else that, you know, they spend their time doing, whether it's in the break time, they actually give up their break time and they come and do the CAS meetings. They wake up at 7:30 on a Saturday morning to go to a refugee camp. So it's not every teenager you find would get up at 7:30 on their weekend. And they create a bond amongst themselves. There's a lot of teamwork involved. And these are a few of our students here. This was a Smile in a Box campaign, handing out toothbrushes, which were also donated by a parent at the school for dental hygiene. Some of the skills that help build their confidence are the critical thinking, problem solving, organization, teamwork, and reflection. So they go through all these processes over the year, and we actually deal with students who are in year 12 and 13, and they slowly develop on these. So you'll find that some students are better at organizing than they are at problem solving, and others are better at problem solving, and this teamwork brings them together. So the process that we go through of a CAS project, so we start with the idea, the brainstorming, and then we present it. If it's approved, there's several paperwork to go through, and it has to be added to the calendar. After they go through all this process, and the important thing here to say is that as a supervisor, I don't do anything. I just supervise, I just watch, and I let them go through that process of brainstorming and then having a problem and then thinking of how we're going to raise the money and coming up with fundraisers. So all of this does take time, and it helps build their character, and it helps build how they think. They develop a resilience as well. It's not always easy. A lot of times it hasn't worked. We've come up a lot, short on money, people not turning up because they have exams, and with them being a student, that has to come first, of course. So they have to work on their time management. They learn to deal with emotions. One project we went to was a nursing home for the elderly, and I found the students found that very difficult to handle emotionally. And then after we left, we had a reflection and we talked about it. And there are nice times. They go away feeling really happy. Most of the time they do, but it is dealing with emotions, so it's the good and the bad. And just continuing the CAS project, we have a risk assessment that they have to fill in, the parent consent letter. We look at the reflection and people's feedback, and then we publish it in a newsletter. So there is a process, and as I said, they take full ownership of that. Even the newspaper article, they write it, and it's their reflection. And it has, oh, sorry, just go back. It always ends with food. We always have celebrate when we have food. So this is a few of our students here, and they were teaching these children in a refugee camp some music. So this girl brought in her keyboard, and she started teaching them how to play musical notes on it, and they were overjoyed.
That's really beautiful.
Yeah, and an important part of it is the child protection policy, because we do deal with children. So as well as our staff being aware of the child protection, because our students are under 18, we had to reflect that with our students who are aged 17 and 18, who are dealing with the younger children. So they had to be aware of the boundaries and the limits and the children's rights to safeguard the younger children. This was a CAS iftar that we had. And we always welcome feedback from any student, any parent, any partner, any organization that we go to. We like to hear feedback, because we need to get better. We need to improve, and we need people to have their voice heard. And I think the young people now more than ever need to have their voice heard, and we need to respect that. They can leave, we have feedback pamphlets that are in my office, and they can just come at any time or outside the office, so it can be anonymous if they don't feel comfortable saying it's them, and just to express how they're feeling. And they can also go to another member of staff if they don't feel that they can talk to somebody in particular. And I think that's my reflection. If you have any questions on that.
Yeah, we're going to have questions at the end of the session.
Thank you,
Thank you so much.
I'm going to hand back to you and stop sharing my screen now.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Samar. That was really amazing, and it's really wonderful to see students developing. The last 2 years in year 12 and 13, we actually witnessed a tremendous change in our students, whether it's basically a personal, academic is important, as you all mentioned, but also this personal growth is really important. And the true reflection of any educational institution is its learners. And that's why with us today we have two outstanding Year 13 students, Zaid Douglas and Shahid Abdelkader. Both are going to reflect on their own personal experience at NES. We're going to start with Zaid, the young entrepreneur, and he's going to tell us more about his entrepreneurship experience at NES and how has our school supported you as a nourishing entrepreneur. Zaid, the floor is yours. You can come here.
First off, thank you, Ms. Iman. Second off, hi, my name is Zaid Douglas, and I'm a senior at the New English School. I'm a creative, hardworking individual. I love meeting new people and open myself to new opportunities. And I continuously strive to self-develop through numerous tasks and activities. Through my food blog and many different ventures, I aim to leave a creative mark and make change. My school has impacted me greatly and allowed me to become who I am today. I have been a student of the New English School for 15 years. It doesn't feel like a school anymore. It feels like home. Ever since I was in early years, I always sensed care and support from all my teachers. Some of them have made an impact on me till this very day. They really helped me explore my talents and embrace the creative side in me. They were truly role models to me. I always like to experiment around with different tasks and activities, and I always end up with a large amount of support from my community at school. Since my hobbies and interests were always unique and not a classic commonly found activity at every school, my school has never failed to present me with a unique opportunity such as joining and working with the PR department. This experience has truly been like no other. I felt great that I had finally found a space to freely express my talent and creativity. I have definitely felt more confident after assisting on many events with the PR team. I was able to flee. My school and the support it has provided me has shaped me to the person I am today. I am very proud to be part of the NES community and the continuous change it aims to make to our society by nurturing kids and shaping them into become the leaders of the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Zaid. You are definitely an amazing student, and you have really worked hard on yourself and on improving yourself. Another distinguished student we have with us today is Shahid Abdelkader, who actually joined our school 5 years ago. And she's going to reflect on her personal experience and tell us about how has NES aided you in developing yourself as a student and as an individual. Shahid, the floor is yours.
Hello everyone, my name is Shahid Abdelkader, a senior student at the New English School. I have been a student at NES for the past 5 years. Before I arrived at NES, I was never considered one of the top students. I struggled in so many courses. However, after finishing my first year at NES, I could sense a tremendous change. I became one of the top students in my year and maintained that position till this day. The credit to this achievement goes to my teachers, who made sure that every single student in the class was taught in the way that suits them the best, even if that meant spending their own breaks teaching students, and not to forget the mentors who have always guided us on how to spend our time at home and be efficient, while still having enough free time to pursue our hobbies. NES isn't simply my school, it is my second home. It is where I found my second family. NES is also where I learned that there is much more to being a student than just studying. There are many activities and programs like sports, arts, humanities, and MUN that us students can engage in. These programs are there to teach us valuable skills and enrich us with new experiences. One such program is Community Action Service. CAS's mission is to make a difference in the environment around us. Its leading objectives are helping those underprivileged, spreading education and awareness in the society, and protecting our environment. As an active member, I helped in organizing multiple charity workshops across the country. It taught me how to work as a team member, how to connect and interact with others. It was instrumental in building my self-confidence and helping me grow as a person. CAS also taught me the importance of giving back to the community. It opened our eyes to the needs of the underprivileged and instilled in us to drive to our better community. Without NES, I wouldn't be who I am today. Thank you.
Thank you, Shahad. This is really a testimony that we are really proud of from both you and Zaid. And now we are ready to receive your questions. I think this question is for Ms. Amal. Ms. Amal Qasim, school principal. Where do you see your school in 5 years? This is a question from Kathy Haddadin. Could you please, Ms. Amal, answer this question? Where do you see your school in 5 years?
Thank you, Iman. Actually, beyond outstanding schools, and most probably it's going to be based on the following. We already got a high level of achievement, but I think number one, it's going to be highest level of achievement. And I think also we should look at the highest level of well-being, and this is very important nowadays. Highest level of good communication with the families and with the whole community. One last thing, maybe to have beyond outstanding school, I think it's a highest effective preparation for the future. And I think we should be well prepared for our future. And as you just all know, teaching and learning is not the same as before. We need to look into it in a different perspective. So hopefully, I'm aiming, we are in an outstanding school, but I believe still we can improve more and more. So beyond outstanding, if we look at these based 4 categories, which is achievement, well-being, communication, and preparations for our future.
Thank you, Ms. Amal. Another question about the campaign. Asil, Ms. Asil, she's asking about how far can this campaign be implemented if schools go online? And since this is the case for the time being, yes, how do you think we can apply, Ms. Amal, this campaign virtually?
I think teachers can always build a strong rapport with their students, even if it is virtual. As a matter of fact, online will be facilitating our campaign. It's much easier and easier access for our learners to actually with their teachers, since they are available anytime. Even in school, it's when it is not virtual, only they have just a strict timing. But when it is virtual, I think it's going to be during any other convenient time. So it's easier. We can implement it easily. I find that it is the facilitating, it's much easier for that.
Yes, I do agree. It might be a burden on the teachers, though. Do you agree, Ms. Amal?
And I think this depends on the interview and to hire the educators, and we have to be very careful with when hiring our educators because our teachers are most of them hopefully are passionate teachers that they are dedicated for the whole profession.
Yes.
Be very careful. We have to. This is where the wisdom comes when we interview our teachers.
Okay. Just one last question, Ms. Samar. There's a question for you about how can we start up a CAS project. The last 2 minutes, Ms. Samar, if you can just briefly explain to us how can we start up a CAS project in our school.
Right. Well, I think it's pretty straightforward. There's just need to get the students involved, and I think giving them control is the best thing. So get something that they're passionate about. So across our projects, we've covered, environment. We've done the planting, the recycling, the children's refugee camp, Habitat for Humanity. So there's a lot of building and physical work going on. I think it has to be something that they're interested in, and it has to come from them, the initiation. So the supervisor of the school just needs to listen and guide and make sure that their students are safe and going into a safe environment.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Samar.
Thank you.
I think our time is almost up. I just want to thank you, our great panelists for today, Ms. Amal, Mr. David, and Ms. Samar. And I do wish that everyone actually benefited from today's session and enjoyed it as much as we did. Thank you so much, and happy, yes, World Education Week. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Iman.